Hi everyone, I'm Linda Gedbois, and tonight I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a question I get asked a lot. I'm always talking about the mind, and I use kind of a variety of conceptual models, diagrams, that type of stuff to kind of illustrate the three aspects of the mind in terms of the higher self, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. But my very favorite model is what I call the quantum mind and the holographic effect, or the holographic universe. And people are always asking me, well, what do you mean by that? Or what's different about that? Or, I don't get it, stuff like that. So I want to just kind of give a brief description of what that is. And this painting right here actually is an illustration of that, as well as, of course, the chakra system and basically the energetic system or organism that we all have what we call an etheric double, which is what the chakra system is all about. And also this ghost-like image that is what we call the etheric body, but what scientists now call the hologram of our bodies, which this is fascinating stuff. But the difference is, see, when scientists started studying quantum physics, and they came across what they called subtle energy, because they had no real concept of it prior to this. It was more like electromagnetic energy and that type of stuff. They stumbled for a long time, and it was very difficult to grasp and to really kind of comprehend, because it turns out subtle energy works by entirely different laws than gross energy does. So, and they kept trying to apply the physical laws to the energetic world, and nothing worked, nothing made sense, and so they started comprehending this entirely new set of rules or laws as far as how it behaved and how it interacted, that allowed it to see fascinating new things, allowed it to see everything in terms of energy creating matter, which is kind of like why the big thing nowadays is, mind over matter, and, quantum physics says that consciousness determines the universe and things only exist because we perceive them, and stuff like that. It poses fascinating questions. So many things come up once we start grasping the universe at deeper and deeper levels. But the primary difference between how we look at things, first of all, determines what we see, right? So the model that we use to look at something determines what understanding we form as a result. So we have to form a brand new model for looking at the mind and the energetic system of the body as being basically the same thing, in order to really comprehend what it indicates or what it implies as a result. And the quantum mind takes what we call the auric field of the body, which is the energy field that is it's very strong, 3 to 4 feet from the body. And we currently have instruments that can measure at 14 feet from the body, but we're thinking that in reality it probably extends a couple of miles from the body, and it just kind of dissipates and gets into more subtle and subtle areas as it moves out. But the significant thing about subtle energy is it doesn't lose its potency with when it gets further and further out, and more kind of like where it's pure field or pure energetic quality, it doesn't lose its potency. So, and that means that our mind has the ability to affect our environment, and affect things around us, and organize, structure them, as well as draw things to us, or allow things to come to us, which is kind of like what the law of attraction is based on. But this basically says that the mind field, which is the big mind, the universal mind, the superconscious, that is still connected to the universal or the unified field around us, is it exists in a state of what we call excited anticipation. I love that term. This is the part of the mind that's always out, and it's always looking, and it's always asking what's next, what's coming, and it's gathering information from the environment, and it sends it back to the body so that the body can prepare, right? And we know, because of this sensation, that we basically know everything that's coming approximately 4 to 5 seconds before it comes. This has huge implications with being traumatized by different things, but we won't get into that just in this session. But anyway, so this energetic field is collecting all this information about what's coming, what's happening, and it sends it back to the body. And when it comes into the body, it comes in through the heart. And this is part of the significance of the heart. And of course, through the ancient wisdom and stuff, the heart was always the most valued part of the body. And we know this because we can measure the electromagnetic currency or frequency that's put off by the different parts of our body, the different organs. And the heart puts off by far the strongest electromagnetic field of any other part of the body. 6 to 8 times as much as the brain, in fact. The brain is... in this model is almost considered an organ in the body, right? And its only significance is that it takes information and decodes it into conceptual terms. But how the holographic effect takes place is when the information comes in through the heart, which is the integrative aspect, it splits. And now, the thing you want to notice about these numbers is one's very big and one's very small. They say approximately 4 billion bits of information comes in through the heart chakra, splits off, and probably 8 to 40 bits, people have different ideas on this, some give us more credit than we deserve, 8 to 40 bits goes off to the brain for what they call sensory decoding. And this takes information that it can decode into sensory terms, create a 3D reality as a concept of something that makes it, touchable, smellable, seeable, hearable, that type stuff. And all of the rest of the 40 billion is downloaded and distributed into the body, particularly in the torso area, which is why we now say that we have 2 brains in our body. The higher brain and the lower brain is because along with all of this, we thought that at one point that only the brain produced neurons, which are necessary for thinking. Well, it turns out that's not true. Turns out all of our major organs and a lot of our major systems produce neurons, but particularly in what we call the gut area or the abdomen of the body, produces a substantial amount of neurons, which means that we literally think with our whole body. And all the other information that's downloaded into the body becomes what we call intuition. And this is why intuition is understood as a knowing about something without a thought process. We know about something, we don't know why we know. We didn't have to think about it, we didn't have to problem solve, we didn't have to figure anything out. We just know. It's like we get a sense about it, we get a feeling for it, and like a whole story, our whole idea is inherent in that feeling, and it's because our body is working off of vastly more amounts of information than the brain is. So the body just knows and tells us and sends the message through feelings, sensations, and it kind of has a holistic idea about something without having an actual verbal thought process like the brain does. So we say basically this is the higher mind or the superconscious. The heart is the subconscious or the body consciousness, and the conscious mind, the thinking mind that tells stories about everything, is the actual third eye, the brain aspect of the mind. So instead of creating like separate little areas, it creates very unique in the sense that it creates the spirit, the soul actually encapsulates the rest of the body and creates a holographic. Oh, here's the other thing. This is really cool. This ghost-like image conveys a holographic image. And science did a couple of things. They developed the equipment that could take a picture of the human body and to photograph what we call the etheric field or the astral field, some people call it. But we know we have this energetic field that's called a hologram that is an exact duplicate of our body. It's the energetic version of the physical body, and it's exact. It's not kind of, sort of, I mean, it's exact right down to minute details. And this is the imprinting or the pattern that we're born into the world with. Well, when they took pictures of adults, they got adult hologram, adult etheric image. So they thought, oh, okay, let's take a picture of an embryo and see what that comes out like. And when they took a picture of an embryo, the seeded human, they thought that they were going to get a hologram of an embryo. guess what? No, they photographed an embryo and they got a perfect holographic image of the fully mature adult that was what they called the potential of the seed in its fully actualized mature state. And that's what they realized, that because we knew for years, that a cell has, this is the other aspect of the holographic effect, is that every single cell of our body has the DNA coding of the whole structure. So any cell of our body has the full information to create our entire body. But we didn't know, we couldn't figure out how did they know where to spatially locate. If I know I'm going to be a little liver cell and you're going to be a kidney cell, how do I know where to migrate in the body to be in the location of the liver, and how do you know where to migrate to be in the kidney? Well, they now know that the holographic image is a spatial structuring, a mapping, a blueprint kind of like, that allows the cells to know where to spatially locate in the organism. Kind of like it's our own personal little universe, right? So I thought that was just fascinating stuff. So they can photograph an embryo and tell what the fully mature individual is going to look like at somewhere in the area of, say, 24 to 30 years old, right down to the blood veins and the creases on the back of the hand. And I mean, it's just fascinating stuff. And that kind of gives us some clues into the what we call the ghost limbs, or like when somebody loses an arm, but they still have the full sensation of the arm, and they never lose that. It's because if we photograph their body energetically, guess what? They do still have the arm. It doesn't affect the energetic aspect. It just affects the physical sensation. So they still have the experience of the arm, which is kind of a little bit creepy. But this just gives us fabulous new insights into the healing potential of the body, which still maintains its perfect structure regardless of, and it also has intense implications for healing disease, for using memory to heal cancers and all kinds of different things. So this is fabulous information as far as what it indicates or what it implies as a result. But that's the basic idea behind what we call the quantum mind and the holographic effect, is that we are the living model of that, the living example of that in true quantum physics scientific terms. So anyway, I hope that answers the question and kind of gives you at least a basic idea. And of course we do classes on this, and it's not just on the holographic or the quantum mind and the holographic, but also on the etheric field of the body, the chakra system, the energetic matrix of our living organism, and all the fascinating little details about it. So if you visit our website, creativetransformations.com, and just check out our class schedule and stuff, and we can really tell you some cool stuff. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you.